Hello, welcome back to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy. My mind is spinning right now. I am sorry. I'm here to start the Mafia Romance Readathon vlog for this weekend. It is currently Friday. It is almost 10 o'clock Friday night. Technically, the readathon started yesterday. There's so much happening in my brain right now. Like, I don't even know how to process what's happening. Because I was going to film a clip. I got myself all ready to film a clip. And then I was clearing notifications on my phone before I was going to film a clip. And I just don't... My mind was already reeling before I looked at my phone. Okay. Anyway. So, if you did not see my TBR, I will link it up above. Just a quick touch base though. I have 3 books on my TBR. The 2 of them are like must reads, and then one of them's a we'll see. So I have the 2 first books in M.L. Philpitt's Fractured Ever After series, which is fairy tale retellings, Mafia Romances. And the second book is a we'll see, because it depends on how much I like the first book and if I feel like continuing. And then the other one is Brutal Vows by J.T. Geisinger, which is the final book in her Queens and Monsters series, because now's the time to finish that. However, I was finishing an ebook yesterday that I needed to get done, not Mafia, and so when I was doing chores and cleaning stuff up, I was like, I'll go off TBR, I'll see. It will kind of off TBR. So I picked up an audiobook yesterday that's on my spinner wheel, that's like the second half of my TBR if I get past those 3 books. So I ended up doing that. But real quick, here is the bingo board I created. The 9 prompts I chose were Italian Mob, Next in a Series, New Author, Tattooed Hero, Captor Captive, Host Recommendation, Royalty in the title, Blood on the cover, and Outside of the USA. Hello! Oh, really? You have cat food all over your face. Please clean your face. My goodness. So yeah, that's my bingo board. I know. My goodness gracious. I'm just getting yelled at tonight. So, yesterday, the audiobook I started was Bloody Hands by Adelaide Forrest. I knew going in that the series has very obsessive heroes, which I can handle that. Okay. All right. Just come up here and stop going halfway. Hi. Okay, lay down. Oh my goodness. Really? Really? She's been laying on my feet and on my lap the entire night. And now, of course, I try to film a clip and she has to sit on my face. My goodness gracious, kitty. So I got through 27%. Hi. Oh, you're going to sniff my nose? Okay. I got through 27% yesterday of this. And as of yesterday, it was sitting at like a 4.5 stars for me so far. Mateo, our hero, definitely is very, very obsessive. I don't think I said this is the first book in her Blondie Crime Syndicate series. So the prologue is him and Ivory, our heroine. They were like high school sweethearts-ish. He took her, and we see them together in high school. He'd taken her virginity like a couple weeks before and breaks up with her very horrendously, completely breaks her heart, shatters her, and then kind of goes off and does his own things. I'm sure there are mafia reasons, and he has reasons. We just haven't gotten to those reasons yet. But I was just like, okay, he's super obsessive, but she's at the bank and there's a robbery and one of the robbers recognizes her and is like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please tell Mateo that we didn't know you were going to be here. We wouldn't have done this if we knew you were going to be here. We're so sorry. Please don't tell him. And they end up not robbing the bank because she's there. So then she's just like, what the heck? So she finally reaches out to Mateo. And she's just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm being dragged into this. I was questioned by the police. I don't know what any of it. So basically, she just has to get it. She just needs to purge because she just can't stop thinking about it. So she goes and runs into him. And he's just like, well, now that you're here, you're never getting away. So he starts kind of obsessively following her. He sticks her with a bodyguard. She ends up drawing the eye of one of his rival. They aren't talking about the mob. They actually haven't said mafia. So, but there's like illusions that she knows he has unsavory ties and things like that. So I'm assuming because he comes from an Italian family, this is the mafia, but I'm not 100% sure because it's not exactly spelled out. But I was on board. I mean, it was kind of bonkers, kind of over the top, but I was okay with it. I was along for the ride. I was having fun. Then tonight I have been listening, and I was crocheting, and I was still having fun. He was still being super obsessive and crazy and, kind of forcing her to do things. And, even though it was a little high-handed, it was really, you could tell, for her safety, giving her a bodyguard, when you go running, maybe we should change up your route, not take the exact same route. You're a little too predictable. And then she kind of sneaks away and goes to a dance club to have a date because she wants to see if there's somebody, because she's like struggling because she has this feeling that Mateo is going to basically ruin her heart again. And so she's trying not to fall back in love with him. And here's where I started to struggle with this book. She gets picked up after a situation and he's moving her into his house. And I could kind of see what was coming. And I was like, oh my gosh, he didn't. And I was kind of like, okay, it fits what's happening. But what? And so it's not the fact that he moved her in without telling her, where I had started to kind of have issues with the situation, is after, the bomb is dropped. She's in his foyer, I guess, just bawling her eyes out. And he just is in his office. Doesn't try to comfort her. Doesn't approach her. Nobody else in this, house staff approaches her. They just start unpacking her shit. And I would be and maybe this is me projecting, but, I'm very particular about where things go. And she makes a comment in her head that they're probably not asking her about where she would like stuff, about unpacking the things, because they know that because she'd tell them to just leave them in the boxes. But I really struggled because it felt like she was truly alone in that moment. And I did not like that. I didn't like, this is where this is the whole thing. Do you ask for permission or do you ask for forgiveness after you do the thing? And I feel like the way he is, he's definitely an ask for forgiveness later. Well, actually, he just does what he wants and there is no asking for forgiveness. But I feel like when he saw, which I don't even know if he realized how much she broke down. He should have. He was in the same house. He should have comforted her. Somehow. Talked with her. Been explained it to her. And even if at that point she still didn't agree, at least tried to comfort her emotionally about the situation. And then and then it's like a couple day passes and she's not really talking with him, but they're still sleeping in the same bed and they're still kind of getting it on in the middle of the night because, you know, she's attracted to him. He knows how to work her body. She, you know, he is the best sex she's ever had and that kind of thing. So she can't say no because her body, the way that she says, her body really wants to be with him. And okay, fine. But I just don't like that they just moved on from the situation. And then, and then also before it moves on, she calls her uncle to come and save her because she feels like he's the only person who could actually help her in this situation. And then Mateo talks with the uncle, makes some sense, and the uncle leaves. But the uncle doesn't explain it. He just leaves. So she comes out to see him, and then he kind of shuts her down and was like, he can keep you safe, and then he takes off. He doesn't even stay to ascertain her safety, and she's not in an emotionally safe place at all with this situation. And then we get the little time jump that I mentioned, and then he freaking microchips her against her will. And she struggles, and she gets angry, and she moves into a guest room. But then, you know, he breaks into the guest room that she locks every night and takes her back to his bed. And he also calls it our bed, and she makes a point to being like, it's your bed. And she talks about how angry she is with him and how she really has to stop her body, like, instinctively reacting to him when it's, you know, more sexy time situations. But I really needed her to stand up for herself a little bit because they keep saying, oh, if he'll never hurt you, I'll never hurt you. If you hurt you, her uncle's, if you hurt her, I will come for you. I will take her and you will never find her again. He is hurting her emotionally. And she even says this hurts worse, like him practically making her a prisoner than if he were to just like break her heart normally, like with a breakup. And I just don't like, and then once again, it's kind of just, they move on and something happens and she's not angry at him anymore. And I'm just like, you need to stick with your guns. And I feel like she should, and I get, she can't really, he's who he is. He's going to be obsessive. He's going to push the boundaries. But I feel like she should have either forced a conversation, yelled at him, or I don't know. She should have done something to kind of be like, this is not okay. And she kind of does, but then she kind of lets it drop. And I needed her to kind of, I mean, even if it's just a smidgen, even just it's a smidgen of agency for herself and really kind of snap back at him. And then there's a situation where they go to a nightclub, and this is where I'm at. I have just over 2 hours left in the audiobook. And you know, she wants to see. So they're at the nightclub. She's seeing all these brunettes, which she's a brunette. It's been a thing. He has basically kind of slept or had sex with people. I don't even know if he's had full sex. It's kind of the only thing we see at the beginning of the book is just a girl giving him a blowjob, but who knows? He makes a point of being like he's only ever had sex in a bed with Ivory. And so she sends someone up to see, like, what he'll do, if he'll cheat, like, what is happening. Of course, he catches on. And there's a situation, he throws her over her shoulder again. This time I wasn't as happy about it. Like, before it was just like, oh my gosh, he's just crazy and insane and whatever. But I don't know. I think I need some sort of realization on his part when he's constantly like, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you. You are hurting her. And I don't like that he's not seeing it, or if he's seeing it, he's not doing anything to try to make things better. And then he demands that he's like, you will be my wife, you will be the mother of our children. And I'm like, because I was just so frustrated with him at that point, I was like, of all the things, this is the one, like, this needed to be a question. You needed to ask her. Because, there's... And then he has sex with her. And she points out that it feels very threatening when he puts her hand on her throat. And that this isn't them making love. This is sex with criminal Mateo, who she doesn't usually see that side of his personality. And then he's like, tell me you love me. And she's just like, I love you. I always have been in love with you. And I'm like, you're in love with your high school boy who was sweet. This Mateo is not that Mateo anymore. You are in love with the former him. I don't think she is really in love with the Mateo as he is now, because she doesn't truly know the Mateo that is now. And I don't know. I don't feel the emotion between them. And I am kind of struggling with that a little bit. Like, I feel like she just can't stay away from him. And yeah, maybe, there's this knowing that they're just meant to be together. But I really don't feel like she loves him. And I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe groveling is too strong of a word, but I need some sort of repercussion for him, or at least a realization that he is hurting her. And you can't just keep saying, I'll never hurt you, I'll never hurt you. I'll never hurt you, right? And she's just like, I know, I feel safe with you. And I'm like, yeah, maybe physically, or yeah, you feel safe with him, and he's not going to pull a gun on you and go all mafia mobster on you. But you're not safe emotionally. And she's not seeing that. And she's realizing it after the fact. So I'm kind of struggling. With the situation right now. Especially because we got 3 kind of really drastic, heavy moments between them, with no real them kind of coming back from the situation in between them. So, like, he did obsessive stuff in the beginning, and then they'd have some good days. But I feel like it was like he took a step down, and then we didn't kind of at least reach the middle ground again. He just took another step down, which that microchip thing, there was a way you could have explained it to her if you let her know or become more aware about this other Adrian dude being obsessed with her. Maybe she would have been more amenable to some sort of tracking device, but instead she's held down and forced into a microchip. And she says she feels like a dog. She's been taken from her home and she's being forced to microchip. I don't understand how you can tell someone you love them when they are making you feel like you are a dog and not even human. I don't understand that. And I don't know. I'm really, like, I was on board. I was having fun. I was like, all right, he's a little over the top. It's a little bonkers, but I'm having fun. And then that move-in thing just kind of started. And like I said, it wasn't that he forced her to move in. I kind of saw it coming. I was kind of here for it. And then the way that he treated her emotions about that situation is where I started to have issues. And then we had the microchip. So, I don't know. I had to turn it off because I got to the end of a chapter and I was like, I don't think I can do much more tonight. I was just kind of getting frustrated. And I started yelling more and more at the audiobook because I talk to my audiobooks. And I was like, I can't. So we'll see how it ends. I'll probably finish it tomorrow morning when I work on some chores and stuff in the morning. But I hope he turns it around. I hope he turns it around. I do know that people struggle with this first book and that the second and third books are really like favorites. So I won't, even if this doesn't quite knock it out of the park for me with the way it ends, I definitely am interested to continue this series. But yeah, so my mind was kind of racing because I was just so frustrated and I was kind of circling about a couple things and I was like, you know what, I need to stop. I need to film a clip. I need to get my rant out. And then so let's talk about, actually, let me show you what I was crocheting. So I originally was planning on working on my boss's, which I've shown you the strip before. I'll just kind of do that because I know she watches my videos. But I don't know where my hook went for that. I have found it. But when I sat down, I was like, got all my stuff out and I was like, where's the hook? I put it somewhere else. I had the cat on my lap and I was like, I can't get up and try to find this hook right now. So I was kind of freaking myself out. But I had the yarn for my brother's girlfriend over here. So I started her sweater. So I got this is just under halfway of one portion of her sweater. It's the same pattern of the sweater I made recently for my friends. So it's the one where it's like the 2 squares and then the super big bell sleeves. So I got that one started, which is great. And this is one full skein of yarn. And this is the Sundance Charmed yarn. This is a Hirschner's brand and it's a 4-weight. And the colorway is green. They just call it green. So I've started another project because, you know, I just have some work in progresses everywhere. But, you know, since this is a vlog and I just like to talk about things during vlogs, and even though I'm trying to keep this to the Mafia Romance Readathon, the other thing that my mind is completely spiraling over right now is when I checked my notifications. Tonight is the first night that Taylor Swift is doing her Eras tour in Nashville. And so I was looking to see what the surprise songs were. Y'all, yeah, I don't know why I just went Southern, probably because she's in Nashville, but first of all, the first secret song she played was Sparks Fly on the guitar. I was like trying to find videos, but I could not find videos. And then she announced Speak Now Taylor's version is coming out July 7th. July 7th. We finally have a date for Speak Now Taylor's version. I almost started crying. I was just like, finally it's coming. It comes a month after my birthday. Oh my gosh. Speak Now is one of my top Taylor Swift albums, and I have been waiting for it. I cannot wait to hear the vault tracks. I am just kind of beside myself. So then my mind was like, I can't even comprehend anything right now because I've got book stuff going in my head that's kind of like ranty and circly, and then I've got my mind being blown that we finally have a date for Speak Now, and I'm like, I just like sat here and I just was like holding my face and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself right now because I felt like I just, you know, was like a computer glitching. I was like, what is happening right now? So I'm really excited about that. And the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. The other secret song she played tonight was Teardrops on My Guitar, but she played it on the piano, which is funny, but you know. Speak Now. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, it's already up on the Taylor Swift store. But here is the cover. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it? Whoa. Okay. My camera was like changing settings. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And oh my gosh, we finally have a date. And now I just don't know what to do with my life. So I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. I think I'm going to go to bed. I don't know if I'm going to start my ebook. So the ebook I have to read, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the first ML Philpott book, Something an Illusion. I'll pop it here. So this is the Cinderella retelling. This is the first book in her Fractured Ever After series. So I might start this. I'm going to get ready and go to bed, but we'll see when I lay down how tired I am. If I want to start this or not, or I might just wait till tomorrow and do it. But oh boy. Yeah. I know at the very least, I know brutal vows will just like hit it, but I'm kind of worried about bloodied hands right now just because I'm so frustrated with it, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go get ready for bed, and when I make progress on anything, I will be back to update you, and I'm hoping I can get through 3 books. My goal, even though my TBR was 3 specific books, my goal is still 3 books for the readathon. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I will see you all tomorrow, and I hope you have a good Friday night, even though you're watching this after the fact. But it's Friday night for me, so I hope you have a good Friday night. And if any of you else are super excited about Speak Now, I need assistance in comprehension and fathoming and all of the things. So please let me know if you are also a Swiftie down below, just because. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Good morning. It is, I guess it's not morning anymore. It's 12:14. But I finally sat down to do some reading after taking care of some stuff this morning, and I picked up the ebook for Hunt in Illusion. I am 18% in. I'm loving this so far. I am loving this so far. So this is the Cinderella retelling, and our heroine is Della, and she is typical. She has the 2 stepsisters, and her stepfather is DeFalco. I think his name is Steven. He's like a rival-ish to the Corsettis, who is where our prince is from. And Nico Corsetti is our hero, who is the underboss. So he's the head. So he's the son and heir under their father, for their family. And, typical like Cinderella, there is a situation where he's kind of, okay, Nico's being forced to marry because their family are ready for an heir, because they don't want the bloodline to end in case something happens to him, even though he has a younger brother. And so they kind of his mother throws this big party, and they invite all of the daughters of influential, like, other mob people and business people that they can potentially have a good, like, strengthening of their business situation. And Nico is just not for this. He very much wants somebody who isn't going to be like submissive to him and demure and, just very obvious in their want for him and the life that he can give them. And Della, interesting enough, actually has a sister. So there's the 2 stepsisters, and then when her mother married DeFalco, she had a younger sister. And her younger sister is Ariel, and she was in a car crash with their mother where their mother died, and Ariel survived, and so now she has selective mutism due to trauma. So that's totally The Little Mermaid. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then we also have Nico's little sister was kind of sent out for safety. And my hair is like all crazy because I'm sitting funky here. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, fine. Whatever. Hey, I have a kitty on my lap right here. So Aurora is the little sister of Nico, and she, for safety, was like sent out of like the Mafia family. She was sent to this like private school that like celebrity and wealthy individuals send their children to kind of keep them safe. And she is now 20 years old, so she's going to be brought back, and there's an engaged marriage, and there's a guy named Rosen who's like one of the family's trusted soldiers, grew up with Nico, and so he's been assigned to be Aurora's bodyguard and to kind of help introduce her to the Mafia life when she comes back. And how perfect is that? His name is Rosen. And it's Aurora. Aurora Rose. Oh my god. I'm just like super duper excited for what's gonna happen. So where I just finished is the end of the party. So Della is forced to go to this party by her stepfather to try to sneak around and find some information against the Corsettis that her stepfather can use against them. And he's using this. She is kind of their servant maid person, but she's kind of forced into this situation because he is paying for her sister's medical care because she is mute. She is like, she's basically kind of catatonic, and the only person that she'll talk to is Della. And so her stepfather kind of is like, she's worthless. And so he sent her to live at like a medical assisted home situation. And so she's like in daily therapy and things like that. So he uses the threat of basically not paying for her sister's care anymore as a way to control Della. So when she's at this party, she catches Nico's eye because she's the only one that's not like simpering and staring at him and trying to catch his eye. She's trying to like sneak out, and then she's searching through the place. Of course, he like catches her, and then she manages to get away from him in like the party area, and then she finds a greenhouse little area while searching for like a study or something. And she just is completely enamored by it and can't resist entering this greenhouse. And of course, he catches her there, and he kind of fingers her. It got kind of steamy pretty quickly, and he's just like so attracted to her, and he is so used to like being able to read people that he just knows there's something different about her, and he is so like drawn to that. And he's like, what is your name? What is your name? She finally says her name is Anna, which is the name that her stepfather told her to use. And he's like, it's wrong, you're gonna run, and when I catch you, you will give me your name. And Nico is very much, I don't know, I mean, I'm guessing it's a kink, but it's like a thing. He likes women to run and then for him to catch them. Like, that's his thing. And Della kind of gets excited. Like, he can see that she gets kind of excited about this. I don't know if Della's fully realized that, like, she's into it yet, but she definitely feels the attraction for Nico. I think there was also a mention that like she's seen him in like gossip magazines or paparazzi stuff or something, and so she was kind of attracted to him before, so you know, she knew who he is. And then, of course, her stepfather's dude is gonna arrive to pick her up at midnight. So the clock just rang midnight, and she was like, I have to leave. Please don't follow me. But he could tell that there was fear in her eyes and that, you know, she didn't really want to leave, but there was some sort of situation. And I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Cinderella retellings. Because I really struggle with class difference where the woman is the lower class. But something about the notes that this is hitting, and it's not really like a class difference kind of situation. Like she and her mom and her sister obviously weren't mafia. They definitely were a more normal person just trying to make ends meet type of situation. And then when her mom got married to DeFalco, it was like a brand new world. But then after her mother passed, DeFalco kind of closed off and didn't treat her and her sisters like they were his daughters really anymore. So I don't know. I had to stop and film a clip because I am having so much fun right now. I am just enjoying this, and it's really cool that I can kind of see hints of like what's supposed to come. And I'm wondering, because I know the next book is Sleeping Beauty, so I'm guessing that's Aurora's book, and I'm assuming she's gonna be with Rosen, but I'm not 100% sure. She could be with somebody else, and Rosen could work for a different fairy tale, because lots of them have roses. But I also know that the third book that's supposed to come out May 9th is the Beauty and the Beast retelling. And so I'm not sure who's going to be in the Beauty and the Beast one. But we also have Nico's younger brother, Raphael. And then interesting enough, this is kind of a spin-off of another M.L. Philpott series. And she kind of mentions it in her author's note. They have an older brother, Hawk, who left the life. And I guess he is a part of a different series. He's the last book in a previous series. So, you know, if this book continues just hitting all the notes for me, I definitely will be picking up the second book. And I definitely will be checking out this other series. Because it sounds kind of like there's a mention of Nico disappearing for a day. And then he tells his younger brother that he went to help Hawk out. Hawk reached out to him. And I guess there was like a serial killer type dude. And one of his latest kidnapping victims or something like that is who Hawk ended up having a romance with. And then the serial killer dude got out of jail or escaped prison or something and came after them. And Nico was gone for that day because he met up with Hawk to help him dispose of the body. Like, I'm very intrigued. I'm very happy. I'm really hoping that this continues at the very least the same plateau of enjoyment for the rest of this book, but I'm really digging it. And like I said, I usually wait till longer to make an update, but I was just having so much fun. I wanted to stop and like film a clip like 3 or 4 times already, and I was like, no, get through the end of the ball and then we'll film a clip. So yeah. 18%. I'm currently listening to a Halo ambience, like a Halo the video game, so it's like peaceful, and it's one of the planets that they land on, like the Earth type planet. And the Halo music is just so gorgeous, and it's got gorgeous night skies, and you see the Halo ring, and yeah, whatever. I'm geeky, I'm nerdy, I'm into video games. But it's just like hitting the right notes with this book. Alexa, dismiss. And yeah, I'm like doing my own like versions of reading sprints. So, hey, look, there my timer went off so I can take a break. But obviously I couldn't resist filming my clip before then. So I'm going to get back to reading. I'm super enjoying it. I'm going to get back to cuddling this little kitty. You say hi? Say hi. Okay. Oh, really? Mer? Alrighty. I will see you when I have more to update. Hello. I'm here for a progress update. I took a break to get a snack. I got some grapes, and Cheese was wanting some soft food, so I gave her some food. I'm now 78% through The Hunt. What is it? The Hunt in Illusion. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. We got a little bit away from the like fairy tale retelling, but I'm okay. Like it got us where we needed to be before completely going off the rails. So obviously I'm getting into spoilers this vlog, so I've already gone into great depth about Bloodied Hands, which I still have not picked up the audiobook for to finish today yet. But I plan on listening to more of that while I cook dinner tonight. But there's just so much that was going on and I could not put it down. So after the ball, we find out that if Della managed to get this information that her stepfather sent her for, great. But the real reason she was sent there was to catch Nico's eye. Of course she did. And now she's basically promised by her stepfather $1 million and freedom for her and her sister if she manages to get Nico to a designated position. And then she agrees because she wants to kind of save her sister and get away from him and away from this being surrounded by people who are made men. I don't think I mentioned this. This is set in Canada too, which is super fun. So she agrees to this. And then he's like, you're going to be outside of this nightclub that's owned by the Corsettis. I have intel that says he's there 8 p.m. on Tuesdays or whatever day of the week it is. So she's there. He hires 2 thugs to make it look like she doesn't know what's going to happen. She was just told to be there. And then 2 thugs approach her and are like trying to get handsy with her. And she starts freaking out. And then they're like, play along. Otherwise we'll really hurt you. And then of course, she puts together, this was planned by her stepfather. Nico shows up, shoots them, kills them both, and then basically kidnaps her and takes her back to his house. And I mean, they get right into it. She pushes back against him and like she's into it and she's attracted to him and she does give in, but she does push back enough for me that I'm not feeling the like weird unfulfilled vibes that I was with Bloody Hands that I mentioned earlier. So even when like and granted he is nowhere near as like possessive in an overbearing way like Mateo is, but he still is. I mean, we're dealing with mafia men here. He still is possessive and gets what he wants. But he does have those moments of reflection. But even if he didn't, I feel like Della pushes back enough that I feel like she's not just getting completely rolled over. So that's nice. But anyway, so he captures her. You can tell they're falling hard. They're falling fast. And then she gets a chance and she takes him to this place and she's just like, I'm gonna, she takes hold of the moments because she thinks like these will be the last moments that she'll ever have. And these are the first moments she's really had with someone, but that makes her feel like loved and in a good relationship, if you can even call it that. So she's like, holding on with it, both hands to like get the memories to keep her for when they run away. And so, yeah, I mean, so then she's also kind of still hiding her last name, who she is. She's not giving any information. And I was just like, okay, how long is this going to go on? Is this going to be the entire book? But like 44%, she takes him to the house, the designated place, and he gets captured by her stepfather, and he sees her gets paid and leave the premises. And, Nico's our hero. He escapes and he hunts her down. She was in Edmonton and brings her back, and then it's a captor-captive situation, and he is just so torn because he wants to kill her. Like, he wants to get back at her for betraying him, and she really hurt him because he was falling for her, even though he hasn't said it. There is one little mention about how he led her too close to his heart or something like that. And it's just, I'm just having so much fun with this book. I am loving it. Plus, so we have Ariella, like I talked about before. I think I said Ariel, but it's Ariella. Her sister, who's mute. And the guy from the New York Familia, it's Corsetti's, and I think they're Rossi's. His name, the one that Aurora is engaged to, his name is Erico. So I feel like somehow Erico and Ariella are going to be paired together. And I think Aurora's going to end up with Rosin. But I know that the book that comes out on May 9th, the third book, is, I think it's like The Beast in Scars or something. And I feel like that is the Beauty and the Beast retelling, not the Little Mermaid retelling, unless it's a multiple mashup. I don't know. But I'm just having so much fun with this book, and I'm really liking that we are seeing little snippets of vulnerability from Nico about his struggle on what to do, because he feels like he needs to just get rid of Della, whether it's killing her, whether it's just letting her go and separating her from his family, because he wants to keep his family safe. And there's issues with DeMarco and I guess, or DeFranco? DeMarco? I don't know. I feel like all these Mafia names are like coming together in my name. But her stepfather, I guess the reason why he has it out for the Corsettis is because there was a situation where he asked the Corsettis for help to find his long lost daughter, who is one of the twins that we met. And then there was some other deal that happened, and one of his daughters was supposed to marry Hawk, who was the oldest brother who left the life that I mentioned earlier. But then when the situation happened with him finding his daughter, and then his wife died, the first wife, so the mother of the stepfather's two daughters, I guess he kind of became unhinged. And then Nico's parents were like, this is not a good situation. We kind of don't want to keep this arranged marriage in place. And then when Hawk left the life, they were like, yeah, we're going to take this chance and separate ourselves from him. So that's why he's been gunning for the Corsettis this entire time. But, okay, I'm pulling it up. So, I'm reading The Hunt and Illusion. And then we have The Craving and Slumber, which is the second book on my TBR. And that is the second book. Okay, yeah. And that is, I'm not reading. I'm just glancing. I'm skimming to see names. And it is Aurora and Rosin, which I love. Okay, book 3. The Beauty and Scars. Okay, I got that right. So this is Isabelle DuPont, who we have not met yet, and Raphael. It's Raphael's book, so it's Nico's little brother. Okay, and then book 4 is The Freedom in Captivity, and that's Rosalind. So that's one of the stepfather's daughters. And Flynn! We just met Flynn. Flynn is like Nico's #1 enforcer dude. And when I saw his name was Flynn, I was like, Rapunzel? Okay, interesting. And then there's TSIS, which is Fractured Ever Afters 5. So we don't know the full name. We just know the initials. And then book number 6 is Untitled. So one of those two has to be the Little Mermaid one. Plus I'm seeing, which is new since I first saw these, there's now a 0.5 prequel novella called The Desire in Deception. And I wonder if this is Nico's parents' book, because they have an interesting story where it sounds like the reason Nico is setting up this engagement with his sister and the Rossi family is because his mother was supposed to marry the Rossi family, and she was from a different New York family, but she fell in love with his father, or his father kidnapped her, and to get her out of that engagement, he killed the uncle of whoever's the head of the Rossi family right now. And then it was a captor-captive relationship. So his mom has, made, little snide remarks. And, his mom comes in at one point while Della's, trapped in his bedroom. And she goes, well, he's like his father, but not quite, because I was chained to the bed. And she's just like, what? I was like, oh my God, I love the mom. Okay, so the Desire and Deception. It is Katerina and Enzo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was originally published in the Heartless Heroes anthology, which I don't know what that is, but it looks like May 16th, 2023. So later this month, it looks like she gets the rights back to have it herself. So I definitely will be picking that up. Look at the fun. It's like a mirror. I mean, all of them kind of have a mirror situation, but that one's a cracked mirror. Oh my gosh. I am obsessed with this book, if you could not tell. I am obsessed with M.L. Philpitt's writing so far. It might be too early to say, but I'm tentatively new favorite author, which has happened. I mean, that happened to me with Elsie Silver. I read Off to the Races and I was like, new favorite author. That's it. No going back. And I think I'm very close to that point right now with M.L. Philpitt. So I don't know. I'm loving this. So we'll see how it ends. I'm guessing I'm going to be able to finish it pretty quickly here. Let me just look. I was at almost 80%, I think. Yeah, 78%. And I have 41 minutes left in the book, according to my Kindle. So I'm going to finish it before I make dinner. And I'll be back with a final rating. But I figured now would be a good time to talk to you about what's been happening, because so much has been happening and I've been having so much fun with it. And I had to take a break to feed the kitty and to get a snack. But yeah, I want to get back to reading. So we'll see how it ends. I will come back and let you know when that happens. Hello, I'm back. I finished the book. I'm going to give it 5 stars. I just can't not. I could not put it down. I'm counting this as a read in one sitting. I got up and went to the bathroom. I got up and got some snacks. But I didn't do anything once I picked up this book. I did stuff this morning before I started it, so I loved it. I can't not give it 5 stars. I just had so much fun with it. And I've read a couple Mafia retellings before in the past, and they didn't either give me enough of the retelling aspect, or it wasn't quite Mafia how I wanted the Mafia to be. And this hit all of the notes that I love and that I enjoy. I don't think I mentioned earlier, it's kind of self-aware that it's a retelling, because they'll make little jokes about when she first runs away and he's like, oh yeah, she had to run away or whatever at midnight, and her brother's like, what is she, Cinderella? And so they make little self-aware comments like that I don't know, I had so much fun with it. I also liked that even though they technically have only known each other for 2 weeks, when she is kind of having doubts and she's struggling with opening up and actually saying out loud that she's in love with him and being vulnerable with him like that, when she finally says it and she's like, but it's only been 2 weeks, and he's like, in this life, almost all marriages are arranged marriages. I count us lucky that we found each other and we don't have to go through the same fate type of situation. And I was just like, oh, swoon. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I'm super excited. The epilogue was meeting Aurora, and you just didn't know what was going to happen because she's been at the super secret high-end school raised by nuns since she was 6 years old. And so it's like, who is Aurora? What kind of personality is she going to happen? And then we hear like everybody's like nervously waiting at the front door for her to walk through it because they get a notification that they're on their way or whatever. And then you hear, they better be inside because if they didn't, like, greet me at the door when I finally have coming home or something. So she's, like, sassy as all get out. And I'm here for it. I'm very excited. I have already downloaded book 2, Craving in Slumber. And so I wanted to leave Brutal Vows because I knew Brutal Vows was going to be at the very least a 4-star. Because I just love that Queens and Monsters so much. It'll probably be higher than a 4-star. Let's be honest. But now I don't know if I want to save Cravings in Slumber for last. I did see it's longer. It's like over 400 pages. I think the other one was like 360-ish. So it is a little bit longer. But I don't know. I can't wait. I can't wait for book 3 already to come out on the 9th. I can't wait for the prequel novella to come out on the 16th, which we just saw earlier, which is very exciting. And then I'll have to see when book 4 comes out. I don't know. I'm super excited about it. I also, once I finished it and I was waiting for Craving in Slumber to download on my Kindle, I was looking through her backlist, and ML Philpott only started writing books, or at least publishing books, in 2021. So she is a newer author, which is crazy. And so she has 2 other series that I saw. One of them is like Witches something trilogy, and it's a dark vampire romance. So we get vampires and witches. And so that's intriguing. And then there is a series that is the one that I mentioned that ends with Hawk's book. That's book 4 in that series. And it's called, how quickly I forget, Captive Writings. And so the first book is Ruthless Letters, and this sounds like it's a former bully comeback. And it says the series gets darker with each passing book. So the triggers that she lists on this first one: dubious consent, explicit sexual content, bullying, physical violence, spanking, anal sex, swearing, manipulation, humiliation, reference to rape, and reference to murder. And then I just looked at Hawk's book, which I know is the 4th book. And I was looking at the prompts for that, or the triggers for that, just to know. Rape, anal sex, non-consensual sexual encounters, explicit sexual content, trauma, PTSD, abuse, blood play, slavery, reference to murder, swearing, physical violence, and death. So yeah, that definitely took a turn for the darker. I'm very excited. I'm very excited, if you could not tell, about this new author. I'm loving it. I have to do my little review and put it on Instagram, but I'm very excited about this book. I'm very excited about this author. I'm still kind of hesitantly, like, she is going to be an author. I'm going to sign up for her newsletter, and I'm going to do all the things and follow her on Instagram and stuff. I don't know if she's going to be new favorite yet. I want to get through Cravings in Slumber, or at least start Craving in Slumber and see. This is also one of her newest series that she's still doing. So, her other books might not quite hit as well, but I just had so much fun, if you could not tell, that I've been gushing about this book. So, as for my bingo board and what this worked for: Italian Mob, new author, Tattooed Hero, Captor Captive, and Outside the USA. Because like I said, this is set in Canada. So yeah, I'm super excited. And that hit a lot more prompts than I thought it would. But I kind of picked a lot of generic prompts. because I didn't want to get too into the blurbs to see what books would cover before I picked them. I more just picked a couple that I knew would work for Brutal Vows, and then a lot of generic Mafia prompts, although most of them were generic anyway. So that is that. I'm going to start craving in slumber. I'm going to go start making some dinner. I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner, but I wanted to make marinara pasta, and I have some Cajun andouille sausage I could grill up, but I might wait and do that tomorrow, and I might just do like something cozy for tonight because I'm just in my feels. Because I found like a new favorite book. So I might do like grilled cheese, but because that's like the ultimate cozy, you know? I should also mention, I don't think I mentioned, I'm wearing my Kingmakers sweatshirt. So this is my Sophie Lark sweatshirt. It's the only Mafia sweatshirt I have. I don't get bookish merch too often, but when, I think I got this from Novel Grounds when they did a Mafia release, and I was like, I have to get that sweatshirt, so I wore it today in honor of the Mafia Romance Readathon, and it's super cozy. So if you've ever thought about buying any of the sweatshirts or t-shirts or anything from Novel Grounds, I am a fan of their shirts, or at least of their sweaters. I do have one of their t-shirts too, but I don't wear t-shirts very often. I more wear the sweatshirts. But anyway, I'll stop rambling at you, and I'm gonna go make some food. And then I'm going to dive into craving in slumber. And I cannot wait. Aurora sounds so freaking sassy. And Rosen is kind of like the quiet guy. So I'm going to be here for it. I think I'm going to be here for it. But I will update you once I have started it and have something to talk about. So I will see you all soon. Hello. Happy Sunday. Once again, it's just afternoon, so I was going to say morning, but it's technically not morning anymore. So, I've been working on chores and stuff this weekend. I have been listening a little bit to the Bloodied Hands audiobook, but let me talk about what I read last night first. So, last night I did start the Craving in Slumber. I am on chapter 16. I'm 32% through. I'm hoping to get this finished today. Oh my gosh. So I totally didn't realize, but this has light BDSM is what she said in the like author's note in the beginning, because there is a Dom brat situation, and I'm not a big fan of BDSM situations. But we'll see how it goes. I know that like even with Mafia things, there is kind of like BDSM normally in the books. It just depends on how it's done and how strong into those elements that the author goes. But I can definitely see the situation, because she certainly has her sass, and Rosen just is like, oh my gosh. I'm really loving this one. It's definitely a different feel, but I'm okay because the characters do feel different. It was kind of bothered me a little bit in the first book, but I am still a little bit just like, Nico, what are we doing? Because, he's lucky enough that his parents wanted him to find somebody to love, and yet he is, and that's kind of the thing with Mafia, is that our Mafia heroes get to fall in love. And not that the daughters won't fall in love, but even though they are giving agency to their partner, they don't necessarily give agency to their sisters or daughters or whatever. So that's a little frustrating. But that epilogue, oh boy. So that definitely led us straight into, we do go back a little bit from the epilogue for so we see Aurora at the convent school that she's at. She graduated 2 years ago, so she's just kind of stuck at this convent. She doesn't have classes anymore. She doesn't really have anything to do. And so she kind of takes it upon herself to start kind of being like a big sister situation for the younger kids who are being dropped off at this school. And she's like, reads the girls bedtime stories, and she has breakfast with the boys, and she's trying to be that good role model for them, but also give them that other person that's not one of the nuns, because yeah, the nuns are caretakers, but they're also guardians, and they're also the teachers. So she's trying to be like, I don't know, like the mother figure or the big sister figure, and really just kind of show them the love that they feel like they're not getting, because she experienced that when she was brought here, like feeling that her family didn't love her, and feeling that, you know, she's just been shipped off to this it's a boarding school. And it's just, her situation is even more different, is because her family was so staunch in wanting to protect her that no phone calls, no letters, no contact whatsoever. All of the information she learned about her family came from the nuns, who were aware that it was a mafia family, so they were able to tell her some things. But it's interesting because we also find out that when she was like 12 years old, she started getting panic attacks. So we see her kind of start to have a couple panic attacks after Rosen picks her up. And somehow he just naturally can read her that something's going on, and accidentally or unintentionally like takes her out of whatever is triggering her. And he's like, I shouldn't push the boundaries. I am staff. I am her bodyguard. I'm not of the family. But he sees that she's just really kind of floundering, and she needs help. She needs someone to talk to. She needs someone to support. So he kind of, those first, on the way there, and that when they first arrive, he is kind of there silently as a support system for her. And he, like, she can tell, and he doesn't say it outright, but he does make little comments where she can tell that he didn't agree with the situation that she was forced into. We also know from the first book, and that, you know, Nico, the reason why Nico is bringing her back is because he's like, we finally need our sister home. But the fact that he's bringing her home and she's immediately getting engaged and being shipped off to like New York or whatever isn't a good thing. So she comes, and she's very, very hurt by the situation, and it just breaks my heart, because all she wanted was to run away from that convent and go home and see her family. But now that she's here, she is so angry that they left her for 15 years, and now she has people to take her anger out on. And then she's kind of like getting stuck in her anger, but I so understand it. And, you know, she makes little comments like, oh, it's a beautiful house. It must have been nice to grow up here. And when she first arrived and she sees like all of the security and the gates and all the cameras and the armed guards and stuff, she's like, this place wasn't safe. And they're like, well, it changed after Hawk. And I get it. I get why she's angry. And she just is so angry at her family. And it killed me, because you could tell that she wanted them to come forward. She, like, you know, and then there was also the fact that they didn't even come and get her. They weren't there when she got, like, first of all, they didn't go to Toronto to get her, which, okay, but they weren't there when she got off the plane. Somebody could have been in the car to greet her there. They weren't even standing outside when she arrived. Like, oh my gosh, you're here. We're so excited to see you. No, they were all standing in the foyer of the front room. So she's hurt by that, because, and she kind of says it, I don't know if it's in that first conversation in the foyer or when they're sitting down or a different conversation, but she's like, you set me off, and then I had to be the one to come back to you. And I just don't, and everybody, her parents and Nico, are kind of expecting her to just get over it because that's the life and she just needs to get over it. But they hurt her so deeply. Like, she doesn't feel like they are her family by blood, but she doesn't think of them as her family because they're all pretty much strangers to her because she left when she was 6 years old. And when she's in the car or in the plane and we're in her POV, she's thinking about how weird it is that she's going to be seeing people that have memories of her and who know of her and saw her pictures at the convent and stuff. And she knows that, she kind of figures out that the people at the convent were keeping the family updated. And she's like, but I have absolutely no memory of them. She goes kind of ish faces. Like, she remembers Raphael, the younger brother, a little bit, his face. But she doesn't really remember them at all. And I was like, oof. I mean, that's a hard thing. And I wasn't expecting it to hit me as hard as it was. I was definitely crying a couple of times last night because her emotions just came across the page so viscerally, and my heart broke for Aurora and her. I mean, I get it. She's angry and they expect her to be over it in like a day, and they want her to be all buddy and so she doesn't leave the room for like a full day because she just doesn't want to be around him because she's so angry and she's so hurt. And I think they just see the anger and they don't realize how much hurt is below the anger. But Rosen sees it and he takes her outside for one night, that first night, after she spends all day in her room, and she kind of yells at her parents and tells her parents off and then her mom off. And then her dad is like, you're making your mother upset. And she's like, good, you should be upset about the situation. But he takes her outside and she can kind of breathe. And then he kind of shuts down whatever more friendly or relationship he has. And he's like, we got to have boundaries. And in his head, he's like, we have to have boundaries because I cannot be the person that she comes to. That needs to be her family. But also everybody's suddenly worried. She's a Spitfire. We thought she was going to be this meek little person and would be perfect to be with this New York familia that she's engaged to. And they're gonna like her fiance almost. Technically, they're not engaged. The agreement's in place. They're going to be engaged within a week, but they're waiting till like a year or something like that for them to actually get married or something. I don't know. I know it's not gonna happen, but they're like, oh, we're going to have to teach her or whatever because her future fiance is going to have to punish her because the other family is more traditional and they need to make sure she's a virgin and all this stuff. And I don't know. My heart is just really breaking for her. She ends up getting a hold of the convent thing, and she talks to one of the nuns there that she was very close to, Sister Mary. And there's like 3 nuns she was super close with. So that's like the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty. And she kind of works her through a burgeoning anxiety attack and goes through her breathing exercises with her and is like, you need to kind of push past the awkwardness. Like, yeah, go down, have breakfast with them. If it's awkward, let it be awkward, because the sooner it's awkward, the sooner you can move past that, which I get. But then it's like, so she pushes past her comfort zone right now and goes to have breakfast with them. And then the entire time they're staring at her. Like, people, I get you're excited she's there and you're all worried about what she's going to do. Treat her like a normal human being. I was so frustrated that they were just staring at her and they were kind of having stilted conversations with her. Raphael was the only one who was like treating her normal. And then she kind of mentions that she's like, I need something to do. I loved working with the kids. Is there a charity or an orphanage or a school or some situation where I can go and be with the kids? Because that's something that really gave me fulfillment when I was left at the... So she's still like putting in these snide comments, but nobody says anything when she speaks. Like, I don't know what's going on the other end because we don't really see anybody else's POV, just her and Rosen's. And then she ends up freaking crying because she is trying to reach out. She is trying to push past the awkwardness, and her family isn't reciprocating. And I'm like tearing up thinking about it. She is just so hurt and broken by these people, and they're not trying to mend it. And once again, she's being the one to have to reach out to them when they're the ones that hurt her. And so this book is definitely more angstier, and my heart just breaks for Aurora. I also do want to say, I find it very interesting because I know like the Sleeping Beauty retelling is hard to do in more like these modern day contemporary settings when you don't have magic to do like the sleep thing. But I find it very interesting, and I'm loving the way that she set this up where she wasn't sleeping, but she was completely out of the Mafia life since she was 6, because to protect her from danger, similar to a Sleeping Beauty. And now that she can come home again, it's a thing. And there was a joke made in the first book, I think, about how, you know, Sleeping Beauty falls in love with the first man she ever sees or something like that. And it's true. It's true. It's not the first man she's ever seen, but it's the first like Mafia person she sees after all this time is Rosen, and her romance is with Rosen. So it's like the little nuances to Sleeping Beauty, I think, are still enough in there. And I don't know. I'm loving the anxiety thing between them. And she ends up getting contacts with a person who runs like this charity thing for underprivileged kids, where they go and after school hours and they like work on this garden and they're like planting things, and then at the end of the season they can take home like the fruits and veggies that they've planted and stuff to help feed their families. And so she's super willing to help out with that because she loves being with the kids and kind of taking that big sister role, but she also loved gardening when she was at the convent. So I'm having a lot of fun with it once again. It's definitely more of an angstier feel for sure. But I'm still just completely swept away. And I mean, we'll see how this is going to go. They're still kind of pushing and pulling. So we haven't gotten quite the pop that Nico and Della had. Della is trying to like calm Nico down and like have him treat her more normal. But, you know, he just can't get over him being the underboss, you know? He's just got to be the big mafia dude. But I'm really enjoying it. And, yeah, I'm having fun. So, I'm having fun and bawling my eyes out because poor Aurora. But, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And we'll see what happens. My goal is to finish that today. And I don't think I'm going to get to Brutal Vows, but I do still at least want to read Brutal Vows sometime this month. As for Bloodied Hands, like I mentioned, I was doing chores this morning. I have laundry going, but I waited till my washer was done so I could film my clip, and then I'll go switch my laundry here. I have about an hour and a half-ish left normal time in the book. I did up it to like 1.5 because I was kind of struggling with them a little bit. But I'm still able to comprehend it. I just was like, I need to speed this up a little bit because my enjoyment in it is starting to wane a little bit, especially having read The Hunt and Illusion and having Della do what I wish Ivory would do, like step up a little bit and kind of stick it to Mateo a little bit and have him, like, he can still be as over domineering and whatever, but I just want him to bend just a smidgen on something, and not sexually, because we did just have, she was like, oh, it's a good step forward, he let me be in control for 30 minutes, and I'm like, but yeah, maybe that's a start, but I need it in more their normal life and like him making decisions for her type of situation, you know? So we'll see how it ends. Right now I'm sitting at probably 3.5, 4 star. So we'll kind of see how it ends, but I'm going to listen to it while when I take a break to fold my laundry and when I'm doing some chores and stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But that's all I have for you right now. We'll see how this day goes, but I will be back when I have more to update you on. Hello. So, it is just after 3 o'clock and I am doing some dishes in the kitchen. I had like some pots and pans that were in storage that I had a big whole stack of stuff to hand wash. So I am just kind of finishing up. I'm on my last little bit here. But I just finished the audiobook for Bloodied Hands, so I thought we'd chat about it here. So I don't know what I'm gonna give this. I am leaning towards 3 stars, maybe 3.5. I don't know. I guess I feel like I don't 100% believe that they're in love, I guess would be the best way to say it. Like, I feel like the moments where they fell in love with each other, we didn't see because we just saw their last moments together in the prologue and not them actually falling in love in the first place. And I kind of feel like Ivory is in love with the person Mateo used to be, and he's not the same. Like, there are elements of him that are the same, but he's not the same person, right? So I don't know. And I feel like he's just obsessed with her, and she finally does kind of yell at him because she's like, I need to be able to choose. I need to be able to choose you. But I feel like she needed to hit that spot earlier and then have their dynamic. I feel like have them really work on resetting their dynamic. I feel like we never really got that, because the moment that makes her finally be like, I need you to let me choose you and choose this relationship, is when she finds out he switched her birth control with placebos. So now she's pregnant. And he did it out of his need to own every bit of her. And I'm like, and he's worried she will leave him. And I mean, dude, welcome to the 21st century. You can have kids and still break up, divorce is a thing. So I don't know. I just kind of, I just don't really trust that I believe in their HEA. I think she has kind of come to accept that, and she is willing to just be in love with the person he used to be, whether that's actually who he is now or not. I was kind of happy that when it came to her, getting kidnapped, and then she was like, well, in this moment, I'm okay for the tracker. And I was like, you saw that coming, but I still, it's the choice of the fact, not the fact he gave her a tracker, but that he forced it on her and didn't give her the option. Because had he sat down and been like, this is a thing that happens in Mafia, is people get kidnapped, and it could cause an issue, so we need to make sure that there's some way that we can track you in case something happens in the future. I feel like that would have been a conversation to have, and she probably would have been okay. And I'm sorry my lighting keeps changing. My camera's like trying to figure out how to film me with the weird lighting in my kitchen. So I think I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because there were elements I enjoyed. And I heard that the second and third books were better for sure. Those seem to be the favorites. So I definitely will continue to read Adelaide Forest and continue in this series. But I think I'm done for now. As for what I'm going to pick up next, I haven't read any more in The Craving in Her Slumber or whatever, the ML Philpitt book. I'll pop it up over here so you can see it. But I want another audiobook because I still have some chores that I'm going to work on, but I'm moving on from Mafia audiobook wise. I'm gonna just pick up a straight contemporary. I think I have a couple prompts that I need to meet, and so I was trying to find a book specifically that I kind of feel in the mood for right now. And I found a novella that works for a couple prompts I need for some of my quarterly challenges I have going on. So I'm switching from Mafia audiobook wise, but I do still plan, I plan to listen to that, do the next couple. I'm almost done with my dishes here. I'm washing my shot glasses because I have really nice, cool Star Wars shot glasses, but you can't put these in the dishwasher. So I'm doing those, and that's the last little bit of dishes I'm going to hand wash for today because I'm running out of counter space for things to dry on. And then I need to get my clothes switched over from summer or from winter to like my summer, so I want to pack away my sweaters and start getting out some of my more warmer weather friendly blouses and stuff like that. So I've got that going, and I'm going to listen to an audiobook while I do that, and then I'm just going to sit down and I think read my ebook, and then I'll just listen to an audiobook during when I'm folding laundry and stuff tonight. We also have the live show today. I think the live show is at 5 o'clock my time, so I have 2 hours until the live show. So I have that going on too. So a lot still going on. I did not mention what I am applying Bloodied Hands for. I have my tablet pulled up over here. So it works for Italian Mob, New to Me author, Tattooed Hero, Host Recommendation, Blood on the Cover, and I'm going to count Captor Captive because when he forces her to move into his house and then he doesn't really let her leave, I think for people who are into the lighter Mafia would count that as Captor Captive, but I don't know if it's full like Captor Captive on other Mafias I've read, but I'm going to kind of count it. So I mean, I've already got that prompt covered anyway. So it looks like the only ones I'm going to end up missing is royalty in the title, but that's okay. I didn't get a blackout, but I at least got multiple bingos on my board. But I'll do a final wrap up when I finish the ML Phil Pitt book. So I'm going to leave it for now, and I'm going to finish up, drain my sink, and finish cleaning all this up. And I will see you with another update of Craving in Slumber. Hello. So happy Monday. I meant to film this clip earlier this morning and then I didn't get to it because I was putting dishes away before I went to work and there were other things going on, and then I got home and I got sucked into my Grim and Bear arc, but I'm here. I'm finally finishing up this reading vlog. So last night I did finish A Craving in Slumber, and I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this a lot. I did dock it a little bit because it was a little angstier than I normally prefer. And I don't want to like dock it for the dynamics between them, but just the more overt, not that I think that this is very heavily on the BDSM power play dom sub dom brat relationship, but it is a dynamic between them, and that's just not something I enjoy as much. But I didn't want to dock it too heavily because, like it's talked about, that is a part of this book. So I just went with 4.5 stars because I enjoyed it a lot. I just didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first book. But a lot happened since I last updated you. Now, I will say there is a kiss between them. About 45-ish% if I remember correctly. But we don't really get any full steam, or we don't get our pop percentage until I think it was like 70%. So this definitely is more of a slow burn. which kind of fit, like I've mentioned before, with the forbiddenness of this relationship. Another reason why I couldn't quite give it 5 stars is I didn't quite like how much her family still didn't really notice. Like, there's a part kind of near the end before we get to the big, like, third act, big conflict, whatever, a big event, I guess, of the third act. And she starts having another panic attack at the reception of Nico and Della's wedding, and Rosen notices, and funnily enough, Hawk ended up being there, which was fun. Hawk ended up coming to town, and so he also notices because he recognized the signs, and his girlfriend also recognized the signs. So I definitely want to read his series, which I mentioned before, and get his book, because he is a lawyer and he has piercings in his face. He is tattooed. I mean, he sounds like he's just kind of like right up my alley as far as like morally gray, anti-hero type character. So I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued by Hawk for sure. But yeah, we do kind of get her wanting to push and be able to kind of live, because she feels like this is her last chance. She does have, we do see quite a few more anxiety attacks from her. And we also get Rosalind, who is Delfaco's one of his daughters, who is Della's stepsister from the first book. And she has been captured, and she was kind of started to be tortured. She was stabbed through the thigh by Rosen is the one who did it, trying to figure out where her father was, and the pain like causes her to pass out. And then Flynn, who is the enforcer, is taking over for her, and I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be, if I remember correctly from when I looked at the series, book 4. I think it's supposed to come out in July, if I remember correctly, is like the Rapunzel retelling. So it'll be Rosalind and Flynn, and I'm intrigued to see how the Rapunzel situation, if she's going to get away and then be trapped by her father, or if we're going to find out that she's been trapped by her father this entire time and this is finally her kind of making her way out of it. I don't know. I do want to say I haven't returned it yet because I wanted to read to you. So the end of the book, there is no epilogue. There is a short scene kind of getting you intrigued to book 3, which is The Beauty in Scars. But it says, here's a very, with a lot of bars, unedited / first draft of a scene in The Beauty in Scars, subject to change. So it's not like the first chapter or anything like that. I didn't read it. I know I'm going to read the book. Like I keep saying, it comes out March 9th, which, if everything goes to plan, is the day that this video is supposed to go live. But at the end of that little thing, because I was just flipping through, it does say, next up, Raphael's book is releasing May 9th. Pre-order here. So she is doing the way that it looks like her releases do, is she releases wide, like a day early, and then on the release day or the day after release day, it enters KU. So it allows non-KU users to pre-order or purchase her books on release day, which is cool. And I wish more authors would do that, because I understand wanting to make sure that all readers, whether they're KU users or not, have access to your books. And I get that it's harder to bring readers in if they're not already aware of you. But I like when they release wide and then go to KU. I wish more of my indie authors would do that I follow. But besides the fact, so she says, some things to expect. Scarred bookworm heroine yet to be introduced. So I'm kind of wondering, because okay, let me finish the list. Attribution perfectionism and voyeurism, forced proximity in one bed, and opposites attract. So definitely it seems like our Belle heroine is going to be the one that's scarred. And then Raphael is like the player, smooth talker, beauty. I'm just loving her. But I'm wondering where she fits in like the Mafia families, because I'm assuming Ariella and Erico are going to end up being together because that's the Little Mermaid. And there is a mention once or twice of where they're in the same room and Rosen notices Ariella just kind of glance at him and then look away. And it's like very quick, very little. There's no talking about him noticing her, but Ariella looking at him and like blushing a little bit and then looking away really quickly. So I'm hoping they're paired together, but if they are, their book hasn't been announced yet. So I don't know where this book ends. The full engagement, like it is accepted. It's not like officially dissolved though, the engagement between the Rossi and the Corsetti families. So I almost wonder if Raphael's book, he's going to be taking a Rossi daughter to marry. And so that's where the alliance is going to be, or if it will be Ariella and Erico. But we still have whatever's going on with Del Falco, and there's just like so much going on, and I cannot wait to read that. And then the prequel novella that's about their parents is supposed to come out in the middle of the month, like I mentioned. So I am definitely on the ML Philpott train. And even though this is the official end of the Mafia Romance Readathon, I think I'm going to be jumping back into Mafia pretty quickly with the release of the Beauty and Scars. At the very least, I will be downloading it the day it goes live on KU. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that and wrap up things here. So for the Craving and Slumber, the prompts that it worked for on my bingo board was Italian Mafia, next in a series, Tattooed Hero, and Set Outside the USA, because once again, these are in Canada. And yeah, so here's my final bingo board. I'm pretty happy. I ended up not getting the one prompt, which is, I'm trying to remember this off my head, but it's the one with like royalty in the title or something like that. So technically I didn't get that one. I could have changed the prompt to something that I would have fit, because other ones would have fit for what I had going on, but I just left it. I still got multiple bingos, and I read I met my goal of reading 3 books, but I only read 2 of my 3 planned TBR books. However, I do still have Brutal Vows here on my coffee table, so I will try to get to it soon because I would like to finish the series, but we'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, I could just wait and finish it during next readathon, but that's like a year away, so we'll see. But I do still want to get to this soon because I would like to finish the series. But otherwise, I think that's all I really have for you. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to leave me an emoji down below, leave me a rose or other flower if you don't have a rose emoji. If you'd like to leave me a comment, let me know if you participated in the Mafia Romance Readathon, and if you did, what your favorite book is, because I'd love to add more to my never-ending TBR pile, especially for Mafia Romance. And I'd love to, once again next year, try to pick up mostly new to me authors again, because it's just so much fun. But anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon with another video.